My husband and I were gone for 10 days. 10 days in Italy, the honeymoon we had planned for 2 years. We came home to find every single piece of furniture we had chosen together either moved, replaced, or gone entirely. My mother-in-law was sitting in our living room on a sofa I had never seen before, drinking tea from mugs I did not own, surrounded by curtains I had not picked. She looked up at us and said, "I hope you don't mind. I just wanted to make it feel more like a home." I'm going to tell you this story as calmly as I can. I have had 8 months to process it, and I am mostly capable of discussing it without my left eye twitching, which I consider significant personal growth. My name is Renee. I am 44 years old. I married my husband Paul at 43, which felt, when we got engaged, like arriving at the exact right moment, both of us grown enough to know what we wanted, settled enough to mean what we were promising. We had bought our house together 18 months before the wedding. We had spent those 18 months making it ours. Every lamp, every rug, every piece of art on the wall was a decision we had made together, which sounds small until you consider that making decisions together is actually the entire practice of marriage. Paul's mother, Sandra, had a complicated relationship with the house from the beginning. She thought the neighborhood was too far from her. She thought the kitchen was impractical. She thought our color choices were unusual, by which she meant she didn't like them. She visited regularly and moved through every room with the studied neutrality of someone who had decided opinions, but had learned, after one memorable confrontation in the second month, that voicing them directly resulted in Paul having a very calm and very firm conversation with her about the concept of other people's homes. Though she went quiet, I noted this and thought she has accepted it. I was wrong, she had not accepted it. She had simply changed her approach. The honeymoon was 10 days. We had arranged for a house sitter, my college friend who lived nearby and needed somewhere to stay while her apartment was being painted. She was supposed to collect the mail, water the plants, keep the place lived in. 3 days before we were due home, she texted to say she'd had a family situation and had to leave early. She was so sorry. The key was in the lockbox. She didn't mention Sandra. What I have pieced together since is this. Sandra showed up the day after my friend left. She had a key. Paul had given her one for emergencies, with the standard conversation about what constituted an emergency. She may have known somehow that the house sitter had left. I have never been entirely sure how. She spent 4 days in our house. 4 days, she didn't just rearrange. She donated furniture to a charity shop in a town far enough away that I couldn't easily get it back. She purchased new furniture with her own money, which she clearly thought made it a gift rather than a violation. She repainted the living room a single color, professionally done, while we were in Rome eating pasta and not knowing that our house was being systematically transformed behind us. She hung new curtains. She rearranged the kitchen. She replaced our bedding with new bedding she thought was better quality. She removed a piece of art from the hallway, a piece I had owned for 15 years that had moved with me through 4 apartments and meant a great deal to me, and replaced it with a framed family photograph. Her family. Her and Paul at his college graduation. Her and Paul at Christmas somewhere years ago before I existed in his life. I stood in the hallway looking at that photograph, and I felt something shift in me that I am still, 8 months later, trying to return to its original position. Paul's reaction was immediate and unambiguous. He called her while I was still standing in the hallway. I could hear his voice through the phone, controlled, which for Paul meant very, very angry. He told her she would need to restore everything to its original state or pay for its restoration. He told her she had violated our home. He told her she did not have permission to be in our house, and had she broken into it, the legal situation would have been straightforward, and what she had actually done was arguably no different. She cried, Sandra cried, and said she had only been trying to help, that she had thought we would be grateful, that the furniture she chose was better than what we had, and she had spent her own money and didn't understand why we were angry when she had only done it out of love. This is the thing about Sandra that has taken me the longest to fully see. She genuinely believed it. She was not performing. She had spent 4 days renovating our home in our absence, and she had experienced the entire time as an act of generosity. The possibility that what we wanted, what we had chosen in a house that was ours, might be as valid as what she wanted for us had simply never occurred to her. Our preferences were not real to her in the way that her preferences were real to her. This is not ordinary selfishness. Ordinary selfishness knows it is taking something. What Sandra had was something more structural, an inability to register other people's interior lives as equally weighted to her own. I could have the argument about the furniture for the rest of my life, and it would never land the way I needed it to. I understood that in the hallway, looking at her, and Paul's photograph on the wall where my painting had been. The painting, by the way, took 6 weeks to locate and retrieve. The charity shop had already sold it. We traced it through their records to a buyer who agreed, after Paul wrote a very earnest letter, to sell it back to us. We paid twice what it had originally cost me. I hung it exactly where it had been. The furniture situation resolved slowly and expensively, and with a great deal of negotiation. Some of our original pieces were gone for good. Some of what Sandra had purchased was genuinely fine, and I have kept it without enthusiasm. The bedroom has new curtains that I replaced immediately because sleeping in the curtains Sandra chose felt like a particular kind of defeat. The photograph came down the day we got home. Paul put it in the car. He returned it to Sandra the following weekend, and she received it without comment, which I took as evidence that she understood on some level exactly what message was being sent. He changed the locks. We had a conversation about this that I did not expect to be as difficult as it was, because changing the locks on your own home is a straightforwardly reasonable response to someone having used a key to it without permission. Paul agreed completely, but doing it felt large in a way that was hard to explain, like a formal declaration of something that had previously been unspoken. Sandra knows why the locks changed. She has not asked for a new key. We have not offered one. See her monthly. Dinners, holidays, the ordinary maintenance of family contact. She is not a monster. She is a woman who loves her son with a ferocity that has never successfully learned to include the people her son loves. She is kind to me in the way that people are kind to you when they have been told clearly to be kind to you, with effort visible in it. I am polite. I am present. I have made a decision, which I believe is the right decision for the marriage I want to have, that I will not spend our limited time together cataloging her failures. Paul and I are partners in how we manage her, which is the thing that matters most. But I will tell you this. The house is ours now in a way it wasn't before because we had to actively reclaim it. Every piece of it was reasserted. Every color we chose was a choice made again, with more intention. The painting is back on the wall, and I notice it every time I walk past, and I think about what it cost to get it back, and I think that some things are worth exactly that, the cost of going to get them. No one gets to come into your home and replace what you chose with what they would have chosen. Not even out of love, especially not out of love, because love is supposed to see you. And what Sandra did was the opposite. She looked at everything we had built and saw a blank canvas. She looked at us and saw something still in need of her finishing. We are not in need of her finishing. We are finished. We did that ourselves. And the key is staying changed.